Today, I'm going to tell you how to have the best possible start on the brand new Albion Online Asian East servers. Now, before I tell you all the tips and tricks so you can plunge ahead, you can get ahead of the pack, you can be, rich and have lots of spec and have lots of power around you, let me just tell you my qualifications. Alright, first off, I've played this game since launch. I have well over 10,000 hours as a solo guildless player. I have been the first player in the entire game to reach billionaire status only from farming blue and yellow zones without joining a guild and without playing with groups. I am the number one reason why solo guild mechanics have been changed and nerfed over the years. I have not ever signed an NDA, I have not signed any kind of deals with Sandbox Interactive like other YouTubers and other streamers who get giveaways in exchange for their creative freedom. As a matter of fact, SBI hates my guts. I am vilified by them because I troll, and they don't really like me that much. But the point is that I am not speaking on their behalf ever in any of my videos. It is all, I'm just a guy that plays this game passionately. I'm not some dude that works for them. You'll notice a lot of the streamers and YouTubers are actually employees of the company. I am not one of those. I do not bend to the will of Reddit or the majority of people who play this game based on moral obligations. I play to have fun, kick butt, and make lots of silver, okay? I also keep track of the entire history of the entire game's economy, so I know what was good selling back in the day when the game first launched. I know what was good on the markets 2 years ago, 1 year ago, 2 weeks ago, and I'm going to share all that with you today, so it'll help you better understand how to get on track to becoming a billionaire on the East Coast server. I also have on my YouTube channel over 450 Albion Online videos. Most of them are guides. I make the videos for myself in case I ever want to play this game in the future, because have you ever put down a video game and forgotten how to play, and then years later you want to play it again, and then you're just like, well, I don't remember how to play, and you just suck. Well, that's my cure for that. So with my videos, I can reteach myself if I ever put this game down. Also, lastly, I have found several bugs and exploits over the years, and some of them are still working to this day that are not known to the public, and that's a channel member exclusive. You can click join down below, $5 a month, but let's get into the video. Okay, this video is going to be in two parts. The first part is for social players, and for social players, your job is to find a guild right now, start right now. I don't know websites in Asian countries, but use Steam, use Reddit, use Discord, use whatever you can to find a guild of like-minded players that you will get along with and work well with, because that is the most important thing if you want to get ahead for a social player. The rest of the video is going to talk about if you're a solo player like me, you're unhinged, you're not social, you're vilified by everybody, you don't make friends, you just end up making enemies, and you just want to play by yourself, for yourself. You don't want to wake up to an alarm clock telling you that you need to log in and do a raid or whatever. That's what the rest of the video is about. Step 1 is going to be to buy the Legendary Founders Pack. That is the $100 one. Now, let me just tell you right now, I don't like telling you this. I don't like that SBI will make money off of this. I absolutely hate that you're having to pay $100 for this, but it's the absolute truth, and let me tell you why. Let me explain, okay? This is something I wish I did when the game came out, because I didn't do this, and I regret it every day. Alright, it's $100, but if you plan to play this game for the long term, and it's going to be like EVE Online, it's going to be a very long game that lasts a very long time, because it is owned by a lot of very rich companies. If you buy the Legendary Pack for $100 now, in 5 years from now, the items that you receive from that pack can be sold for hundreds of millions to $500 million silver, or possibly more. I'm not even joking, okay? It's a small investment now that will pay off in 5 years, and every single person that still plays this game, in the current time period, regrets not buying that $100 pack. So buy the Legendary Founders Pack, because not only do you get to play the game 5 days in advance, which is not a big deal in the long term, it's the skins, it's the legendary stuff, it's everything that you get for that. There are so many people, actually on the West server, myself included, that have considered just buying the pack and then letting it set for 5 years, not even playing on the East Coast server. That's another thing too that you can possibly do, because it's going to be worth so much silver way down the line. I implore you to do it for yourself. Don't do it for SBI. Don't do it to support the game or anything. Do it for your own greed, because there is nothing else you can possibly do in this game that's going to make you that amount of silver that easily. I'm telling you. All right. For everyone else that either can't afford the Founders Pack, which is a real shame if you can't, do anything you can to get that Founders Pack, because it is so worth it. For everyone else, though, when you do the Tutorial Island, this is what you're going to do. You're going to max everything out on the Tutorial Island that you can, up to Tier 3. And what I mean by that is you're going to gather wood, you're going to gather fiber, gather metal, and skin animals until you've unlocked Tier 3 with all of them without using any learning points, okay? As you do this, you will also probably kill mobs and unlock your combat abilities as well. So, you're also going to get Tier 3 cloth, leather, and plate unlocked just by killing mobs. You're also going to level every single weapon available on Tutorial Island and the offhands. You're also going to refine all of the materials that you can into planks, into cloth, ingots, and leather. All right, you can't level fishing and you can't level stone gathering on the Tutorial Island, sadly. You'll have to do that later. But for now, you also need to max out your bag crafting, your cape crafting, your armor crafting, and your weapon crafting. Everything that the Tutorial Island will allow you to do, you need to hit Tier 3 with it. And it's going to take some time. It's going to take at least a few hours to do this. But the reason why you want to do it now and not later is because of the abundance of resources and instant respawns. And also, everything is basically free right now. Whereas later on, it's not free. And there's going to be a drought of resources. Here's how it's going to work. On launch day, everyone, even the 5-day head start, everyone's going to just swarm the land and just delete everything. There won't be mobs to kill. There won't be animals to skim. There won't be plants to harvest. It's all going to be gone, and it's all going to be constantly camped, okay, until people work their way up to Tier 4 and Tier 5 zones and Tier 6 and so on. And if you're not in a guild, you can completely just absolutely forget the black zone and the red zone. It's going to be absolutely controlled by giant guilds like Red Army or White Lightning, those kind of guilds. I don't know if they still play, but they basically they're going to run the place. Just believe me, they're going to prohibit anyone else from entering their territory, and they're going to monopolize the hell out of it, okay? So, but before you leave the Tutorial Island, the best thing that you can take with you is not mules, because SBI has said that they're going to set up the ability to purchase mules and other mounts from vendors for a little while until the world gets more established, so that they don't have to rely on islands to grow animals. So mules are out. Don't worry about mules. They're not going to be worth anything like they are now. What you want to do is you want to carry as many bags as possible. Now, here's the thing. Every single person in the game on a fresh start, whenever Albion Online first came out, there was a massive bag shortage, okay? Everyone uses bags. Gatherers use bags. PvPers use bags to carry the loot. People that do dungeons or craft need bags. You're going to make the most silver selling your Tier 2 bags. And even if you do like red zone, black zone stuff and you die, you're going to want replacement bags. And Tier 2 bags do the job. You don't need Tier 3, Tier 4, Tier 5 bags for quite a while. So your Tier 2 bags are going to serve you very, very well. And there is no better place in the entire game to craft Tier 2 bags than the Tutorial Island. Alright? Once you're out of Tutorial Island, here is my next recommendation, is that you should only ever farm open world mobs. Do not do dungeons. Don't do corrupted dungeons. Not right now. Okay? Corrupted dungeons are way better later whenever people have established selling goods to the black market. But for now, there won't be no item drops in dungeons. There won't be any item drops in corrupted dungeons. Really, not that much. But anyway, only farm open world mobs because they give 6 times more fame than doing dungeon mobs. This is why you should never, ever do dungeons. Alright? And only focus on gathering a single resource. I recommend that you farm stone because stone is the best seller all the way up until late game. Once you reach late game, people aren't building as much and there's not really much need for it. So it becomes the worst resource in the game, but that's years down the line. Years! So until then, it's the #1 resource. It's the best resource, okay? I also recommend the Warlock tree on your Destiny board. That is the Cursed Staff's Demonic Staff, the Cursed Skull, the Shadow Collar. And the reason why is this weapon fills every niche in the game. It's great for solo PvE. It's great for soloing group dungeons or group activities solo. It's one of the most meta PvP weapon. It's probably going to be nerfed, maybe? Who knows? It's been meta for years. All right, it's great for corrupted dungeons. It helps you clear the dungeon fast and kill other players. It's the meta weapon in the mists right now. It is the best all-around weapon for all content in the game. There's no reason not to have this leveled up. It will serve you incredibly well. You'll have lots of fun with it. Now, late game, if you want to get into hardcore expeditions, crossbows for DPS, you'll have to look up tanks and healing specs for that, but I recommend crossbows because you can do a lot of other things with crossbows, such as PvP. You can speedrun dungeons if they ever buff the loot drops or the fame drops on them. However, hardcore expeditions might be gatekept by the community like they are on the West Coast. On the West Coast, they are controlled by a communist Discord, and it's horrible. It's like basically if they have the gate, control of the gate. Anyway, late game gathering is skinning. Skinning is the best moneymaker in the entire game for gathering because animals can drop babies which sell for a high amount, and once you know the tricks and you can one-shot animals with hide poison, you are gathering much more resources per hour than anything else, including lumber. Okay? For weapons to level up, daggers are great for PvP. They're great for ganking. If you just want to like kill people and take their loot as a solo player, daggers are pretty good at that. Axes are good for actually man-fighting someone. If you have a one-handed axe and you have a lot of levels into that sucker, you are really hard to kill when there's only one other enemy around you. Axes are good for group PvP also. Bows are great too. Bows make you a turret. Some of the higher DPS things in the entire game are bows. So if someone does not have defensives or they can't one-shot you, you will almost always win the fight or force them to run away. Bows are also very elusive and hard to catch with the right gear. Spears are an all-around great PvP weapon. They can slow opponents, you can zone them. If someone isn't extremely experienced in PvP, they will lose to a spear user who is. Leather armor is great for PvP, it's great for PvE, for soloing group content in PvE, leather armor is king. Alright, you'll see every PvPer that does like faction fighting and Zerg versus Zerg, they all wear leather. Okay, cloth helmets are great for PvP and PvE, and cloth and leather shoes for PvP and PvE. Basically, I want you to avoid plate entirely unless you're a tank, or you're like tanking dungeons, you're the initiator for your guild, stuff like that. Before we can get to step 4, you're going to have to grind. It is an MMORPG, you don't have a guild backing you up. Unless you're a credit card whale, you can't really skip this. You need to save money for premium, and to do that, you're going to gather. You're going to gather as much as you can stand doing every single day and sell the goods. They're not going to sell for a lot at the start, or they might sell for a ton depending on how many gatherers and bots are on the East Coast server. Whenever I originally played Albion Online, there wasn't bots at all, so gathering was an insanely high demand. Things sold way, way more than they have ever sold in the game's history. It's all downhill from here, but for now, if you're out there gathering stone every day, you will have, there's going to be more demand than supply, that's for sure, because people don't like to gather, and as long as bots aren't doing it, the price will be high. When you are gathering, once you can't stand gathering, you'll do another activity. You're going to farm open world mobs, which will give you silver, but they will make your character stronger. You're going to do this as much as you can tolerate, maybe 1 hour, 2 hours a day, 12 hours a day if you're crazy like me, but once you have premium unlocked, it's time to go to step 4. Once you have premium, you can unlock a personal island, and by doing so, you will now have access to houses, which you can put laborers in, which is going to dramatically increase how much resources you get every single day, as well as how much money you make every single day. So if you are a stone gatherer, you will have stone cutters in your house, and those will give you more stone every day when you give them journals, which, there's a slight upfront cost to all of this, but it pays for itself almost immediately on a fresh start server. On an established server, it can take up to 2 to 3 months to pay for itself, but on a fresh start server, you're going to be able to pay for this in like the first week or so. It's super, super worth it, okay? Next up, you're going to set up your farms. Not herb gardens, not kennels, you're not going to raise horses or chickens. No, that's all a huge money sink and is not what you need to start out with. There is one crop that you should be growing, and that is wheat. You need to tech up to wheat, which is only tier 3. The reason we grow wheat is because it is the single resource that you can actually profit off of if you choose not to water it. And it's always been that way since the entire game's history. There are a few other crops, like sometimes cabbages, sometimes a few other things, but wheat is the go-to golden child of resources that will make you mathematically the most money if you can't water it. But you do want to spend your focus, which you should have 30,000 focus because it will be the first time that you have premium. So what you should spend your focus on is watering wheat. And a lot of people are going to tell you not to do this because, well, you know, crafting and refining and all of that kind of stuff will be better in the long run. And here's why they're wrong. Okay, I don't know about the East Coast server or the politics or the demographic or, you know, the social aspect of it, but eventually every town will be monopolized by a cartel that will control every shop stall, and they will raise the prices of every crafting station's refinery to the point where it is not worth it for you to refine there unless you own the crafting station and can refine there for free. That is just the reality of it, because eventually someone's going to become a multi-billionaire and they're going to take control over it, and it's going to continue to make them billions and billions and billions of silver, and there's nothing you can do about it. So in the absolute long run, do not spend your focus on refining. With that said as well, do not spend your focus, not yet, on crafting. I'm going to talk about that in just a bit. That would be step 5. But if you spend your focus on crafting, you will, on a fresh start, make an okay amount of money. But in the long run, eventually those will also be monopolized to the point where you will be barely breaking even, or you will be slightly losing money to level up your crafting. And until you max out crafting, which costs hundreds, it almost costs several billion silver to max out, like, say, bow crafting. Like 100 across the board is going to be an insanely expensive endeavor. It's going to take you several years. And right now on a fresh start server, you need to focus on your economy. Growing wheat and just selling the wheat is what's going to make you huge, huge amounts of money. But I'm also going to tell you that if money isn't a concern, if you can just swipe a credit card and buy gold, or if you have other means of silver generation in the game, we can go to step 5. Step 5 is all about your profession, that is your crafting, okay? Now here's how this is going to work, okay? There is one profession in the entire game that is basically cartel-proof. It is a monopoly-proof. It is the most in demand of all crafting. It will never sink because it is reliant on too many factors in the game, and that is cooking. I know it sounds weird, but if you max out your chef character, or your main character is your chef, you will profit way more than anyone else for the longest time. As far as this game's history goes, Chef is foolproof when it comes to monopolization. And let me explain why you want to work on maxing out cooking. The reason why is that not only do all players eat food, gatherers eat food, PvPers eat food, they have to or they lose. PvEers eat food to do more damage or to heal between pulls, but also every single crafting station in the entire game relies on being fed food to operate. That's right, every shop stall needs food. That means even the billionaires that monopolize and own the cities still have to buy food, and a lot of them will employ chefs to just work for their shop stalls. So even if you, let's say if you have a max up character with cooking, you can either be hired by another player to do cooking just for them, or you can just buy raw materials off the market and then cook it into something, and you will always profit massively, 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 massively. It is the one foolproof, soundproof, idiot-proof crafting niche in the entire game that I recommend everyone do. And even if everyone did do it, it's still foolproof. The market will never, ever bottom out. It is by far the most profitable thing you can do, and it's also the cheapest. That's right, it is the cheapest thing to max out on. Now, it does cost around 111 million silver on average in an established world to max out. this is going to be a very long grind for you on a fresh start server because there simply won't be enough people growing crops due to the really expensive price of premium. For those of us that played on West, premium used to be really cheap back in the day, like 3 million silver. So we would just have like 20 characters that would just grow crops on islands, and then we would cook it into stuff. You won't be able to level it up that much that way anymore. This is going to take you several months to your first year of playing to max out, naturally. Or if you get rich by, killing like a transporter or something, then you could max it out in a couple days. But work on maxing out cooking because it will always make you money. You will never go broke. You will always be able to afford the best gear in the game. You will always be able to afford premium. You will always be able to afford the best mounts in the game. I owe a lot of my wealth to skins and cooking. So work on maxing out cooking. Step 6, invest in gold right now. As soon day heckin' 1 of the server launch, buy gold. Buy gold. Buy gold now and sit on it. Don't spend it. Do not spend your gold. Do not convert your gold to silver just because you want to buy a new item or you can barely afford a re-gear. No. You buy that gold and you sit on it and you wait for 2 to 3 to 5 years because gold always goes up in price. It will never not stop going up in price. Buy gold now. I wish I sat on gold on day 1. Oh, if I did, man. Like, if I did. You should have a bunch of gold just from getting the Founders Pack if you did that step. But you need to buy that gold and sit on it. Don't spend your gold on premium, not yet. No, you sit on and you because here's the thing, right? Back in the day, on West, the price of premium was 3 million silver. Now it's 17 million. But the price of gold remains the same. So if you're buying gold at such a cheap price now, then later it will pay massive dividends. Absolutely invest in gold. Step number 7 is do not ever sell any mount skins you get for 2 to 3 years. Also, because it's brand new, I don't know how it's going to work on East, if they're going to offer the old skins or if they're just going to carry on with the current skins. I have no idea how that's going to work. But you need to refer as many people as possible to the game with a referral code found on the website so that you can unlock these skins. Because, especially the Founders one, like the first month or 2, those are going to be the absolute rarest skins in the entire game. I have a Ghost Wolf skin that is worth, I think, someone told me it's 3 billion silver or something ridiculous like that. 3 billion silver for a single skin to change the color of your wolf into a ghost. Like, who cares, right? But people apparently do. So what you need to do is you need to do whatever it is you can to get these skins. I prefer referring people. I'm one of the most referred players on West right now because I'm a YouTuber, and so everyone clicks my referral links. Thank you for that, by the way. But you can also buy these skins if they go up for sale, and they may cost 10 to 20 million silver. Buy them now if you can afford them, and sit on them for 2 to 3 years, and you will be a billionaire. Just straight up, you'll just wake up one day, look through your old chests, and be like, oh wow, I'm rich. Isn't that cool? Step 8 is one of the most important steps, and what you need to do is find out very quickly what you find fun in this game, but don't go all in with it. Let me explain what I mean, okay? Back in the day, what I found most fun in this game was clearing solo dungeons as fast as possible. Well, over time, and several nerfs later, and several new releases later of new content, like open world mobs used to give jack crap for fame and silver, but now open world mobs are a great source of fame and silver. However, dungeon mobs do not give barely any silver or any fame, and the loot was heavily nerfed in these solo dungeons. Even in tier 8 dungeons, they all suck. It's old legacy content that there's no reason to ever do them anymore. So when I say to find out what you want to do for fun in this game, don't go all in. So imagine if I went all in, like I unspec'd out of all of my weapons and armors and only had gear to do solo dungeons and nothing else. Well, if it gets nerfed to oblivion, my character is essentially useless and I have to start from square one to fame up other weapons and equipment. So when I tell you not to go all in on something, diversify. Your character should be able to do many different things. Tank, heal, DPS, PvE, PvP, Zerg versus Zerg, faction fight, solo gathering, group, dungeons, all of it, okay? make sure that your character, you're working towards your character to be able to do everything, because in the future you never know if the thing that you like to do most will become obsolete or nerfed or removed from the game entirely. There was a weapon called the Black Hands, which was these punching gloves that were in the dagger category, and they were actually one of the best 1v1 corrupted dungeon weapons in the entire game. Well, one day the developers just decided to remove the weapon entirely, and people that have focused all their points into that weapon, it became something called the Demon Fang, which is not a very fun weapon, I don't think. I think it's a kind of a boring dagger, but all of those people got screwed over if that's all they had their character specialized into. So what I'm saying is, diversify, but also spend time doing everything in the game. Find out what you want to do for fun, because if it takes you years to figure out what you like and don't like, then what's the point of playing in the first place? Finally, here's what you should and should not invest in, okay? Things that are the best investments in the entire game are mount skins. Those will always go up in price over time. You should also invest for a best-in-slot gear for PvE, PvP, and gathering in safe zones. This means full 8.4 if you can afford it, or when you can afford it, rather. That's how I like to say it. You can always sell these later if you get bored of it, but it's very important that you have a gathering set and a farming set in case you go broke or you lose everything, that you only use specifically for blue and yellow zones, because having just a way to generate income is better than being completely naked, broken, begging in the game chat. Also, housing, furniture, laborers, farming alt characters, these are all really, really great investments depending on the price of premium. What I mean by that is you need to do the math and know how many crops you can grow per month and the cost of premium per month. And if the cost of premium is higher than what you can generate, then it's not worth it. Things that you should never invest in is just hoarding max tier gear. I'd made this huge mistake, right? I was hoarding like an entire weapons closet of just 8.3, gear. And then the game was like, hey, guess what, guys? We're going to release 8.4 gear. And all of my stuff just plummeted in value. Mounts, even rare mounts, Gucci mounts, raid level mounts, stuff like that. Don't buy them because they are always going to devalue over time, especially the monthly reward mounts. Those, over the years, have always went down in price. Raw resources, depending on bots and depending on the market, this is a terrible investment unless you're doing it for like Fame Week or something, but you have to hold on to that for months at a time. Don't just buy raw resources to spend your money. Don't buy masterpiece gear. Don't. You're barely getting a benefit out of it. You might squeeze out 15 to 30 more damage per E ability at best. Don't do this. Non-mount skins like shirts, hats. Yeah, they may be expensive, but they always go down in price over the years. Don't buy these. Don't just hoard laborers. Don't go buy laborers and set on them. The price of laborers will always go down over time. Crafting materials, like runes and relics and stuff, don't buy, they all go down in value over time. Unless the population is starting to just dwindle and just evaporate, then it will go up, which with the opening of the East Coast server, maybe these will go up on the West Coast server, hint hint. Alright, and then siphoned energy. The reason why you should not invest in siphoned energy is because there are too many ways to easily get it these days, whereas back in the day, they had nerfed many different methods to get this resource, so it was one of the best investments you could possibly make, but not anymore. With that said, I'm Swole Benji. Thanks for watching. As always, be a bro and stay swole. Let me know what you thought. I read every single comment. I make videos every single day on this channel. Come back tomorrow for another video. Hopefully this helped you out. And if you have any comments that you think maybe I left out, let me know in the comments. And if it's really good, I'll pin it for everyone else to read. With that said, on the right side of your screen right now is a video you should absolutely click, handpicked just for you by Google's algorithms, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss tomorrow's video. Take care. Real quick before you go, because this video is not sponsored, I don't really do sponsors, I don't take ad deals, I just want to share with you the channel membership. It's $5 a month. All you got to do is click join right below this video. $5 a month. It's just like being on Twitch, but you get access to private, more personal videos, and let me share with you what some of those are, okay? We have the best thing to invest or sell during Fame Week. This will double your money if you watch this video. I put it out on January 24th, which was 2 days ago. I've got an exploit to be invisible in yellow and red zones. That's a fun one. It's really good to fear from Carleone. Okay, I've got a video about free stuff from Reddit. This includes video games, televisions, graphics cards, computer parts, whatever the hell it is you desire, you can get it for free off Reddit. I have a new, this one is a little vague. It's called Exploit for Your Favorite Game. This one is how to gain an additional 40% gathering yield in, well, as long as you have tier 8 gathering unlocked, you can gain extra 40% gathering. It's a glitch. It still works. It was never fixed. Okay. Let's see, what is this one called? The most profitable time to play Albion Online. That's a fun one. How to double your gathering income. This is great for blue and yellow zone gatherers. Okay. Now this is a refining exploit. It got fixed. This was posted on November 23rd, 2 days after the patch, by the way. And what happened there was you could refine tier 8.3 stone with tier 8.2, and you just made a ton of money. It was free money, okay? Also, this happened once 5 years ago. Do this now to make money later. This might apply for the East Coast server. It might not for several years, but when it happens, this makes you an instant billionaire. And you have to be quick as soon as you log into the game and you notice this one thing, but I'm not going to tell you because it's members only. I also went over Tinkerer journals and profit information, which is a big theme on my members channel right here. My favorite build for Mists, and an oversight on Fame Gain. This is a really good build for Mists. Too good to share with the public, by the way. Advanced Skinning Guide. This is how to one-shot mobs. Okay, here it is also how to auto-attack one-shot skinnable mobs. This is basically the same video, just built upon it. Here's me trolling Reddit. That was a long time ago. That was September. Anyway, I hate to hit you with this, but hey, it's $5 a month. You get such really good things. You also get personal things like just me talking about stuff. I got my daily gaming routine in there, like a whole bunch of fun stuff. Just check it out. $5 a month. If you don't like it, you can always cancel, whatever. Anyway, guys, on the right side of your screen, go ahead and click that video and make sure you're subscribed. I'll see you then. Mwah.